Call the meeting to order. There is no citizens communication signed up. No minutes went out, so there are no minutes to approve. And we'll start with resolutions. First resolution appropriating and amending the 25-26 Williamson County Office of Public Safety budget by $30,611.77 for overtime, supplies, and maintenance of vehicles, revenues to come from the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency. And this is due to the assistance in Texas. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Do we need discussion on this, or are we all right approving these funds coming and going?
I'm good with it.
I'm good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Passes unanimously. Resolution appropriating and amending the 25-26 Sheriff's Office budget by $56,000, revenue to come from law enforcement training program.
Motion.
Second.
Simply put, this is money from the state for salary supplements, and that will go to SROs for in-service training.
Same thing we do every year, right?
Yes,
Okay.
pretty much. When they find money, this is in addition to what they typically get, so
Yep.
it's additional money, and hey, they want to give it, we'll take it.
Yeah, that's right. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Resolution accepting a donation of $4,000 for the purchase of equipment and supplies for the Williamson County Sheriff's Office and appropriating and amending the 25-26 Williamson County Sheriff's Office budget by $4,000, revenues to come from donations.
Motion.
Second.
We have a gentleman every year that makes a contribution to the sheriff's office, and we have to designate what that contribution goes towards. And so it was a $4,000 contribution, and we're going to use that to buy iPads.
Okay. Any discussion?
No.
Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Resolution approving a full-time coordinator for the Williamson County Mental Health Court.
Motion.
Second.
This I don't know anything about, so who gets to talk about this?
I guess I do.
Thanks, Bobby.
This is creating a position. We used to subcontract this work out. We're bringing it in-house now. All you're doing is creating the position. You're not funding the position. The funds will be in next year's budget, which will be coming from a grant.
Okay.
And I can add that HR heard it last night and it passed unanimously.
If it's grant money, I'm good with it.
Yeah, and just to build on that, we asked what they do. They do quite a bit. They coordinate all the program for someone that comes through, counseling, whatever they need. It's a very important position. There's a lot going on there. And so I think since the state's going to pay for it, I kind of like it.
Yeah, and the resolution does provide that should we not get the grant funds, the position goes away, so.
Perfect. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, passed unanimously. We have another resolution that's not on the agenda, so we will need a majority of the committee to hear it, which is Resolution 326-2, resolution to establish a courthouse task force for the purpose of analyzing and implementing future judicial facility needs.
So move.
Second.
In favor of hearing this. How about
You
that?
got the motion in second, so I think that.
It's good enough?
I do so.
He might have misspoke. You don't know him very well. All right. I will call on Mr. Commissioner Sean Aiello to explain this wonderful resolution we have in front of us.
Well, thank you.
Quickly.
If you really want a benchmark for what a resolution should be, just take a look at this. It's pretty self-explanatory, but the idea is to create a forum for discussion about the courthouse and judicial needs, and to really pick up from where the Triple J left off in 2020. There really hasn't been a forum for discussion on it since then, and as you all heard in the last meeting when there was discussions about the Hill property, there were lots of questions about feasibility, cost, appraisals, use, previous reports. This provides a forum that would allow all that to be discussed with relevant stakeholders. I will note that it's not an exhaustive list of those people that are interested in and have a vested interest in what happens at the courthouse. For example, DAs, PDs, clerk and master. What I tried to do was to create a fairly limited number of positions, but that doesn't mean that we can't have other individuals there to speak on their interest points. Of note, it's still only commissioners that would be steering the ship here. There's 4 that are called for, with chair and vice chair being required to be a commissioner, with the objective of, if things come out of this task force, those commissioners would either be tasked with or would spearhead any resolutions that would require any sort of expenditures or direction from the commission moving forward. Obviously with input from the task force, but the task force really wouldn't be able to create any resolutions without commissioner spearheading it. There's no fiscal note attached with this. If there was a desire to have further work done by Gresham Smith or any other investment group or anybody that needs money, design plans, anything like that, that would require a separate resolution that could come out of the task force to the commission to move forward. So a vote for this shouldn't increase any capital outlay other than advertising a public meeting. So that's kind of the inception. Get the courthouse back on the radar, third J of the triple J, and a forum for discussion.
Committee, do you have any questions for this resolution?
Where I support this in spirit, the people listed on this task force know nothing about real estate or feasibility studies, in my opinion. I did pay attention to the meeting when I was out of town. I heard the discussion back and forth. Obviously, everybody knows we need a courthouse, for sure. I do think 100% we need a new courthouse. I just disagree with some things in here. I'm going to be voting no. So. I just
Commissioner
think
Petty?
I support it. I think we need to do this and do it right. For the same reason that I supported looking at the possibility of going from volunteer to paid. There's going to be a cost involved. We need to look at all of our options and really analyze this thing. I agree, we do need a new courtroom or courthouse or additions to the ones we have. And I wanted to do this right, and I think it's a good idea to develop a task force to really look at this thing.
I just got a question. Sean, what's the intention? What are they looking at, right? Again, these people know nothing about real estate, know nothing about the highest and best use of what parcels of land.
Sure. Well, as you can see on there are spots for 4 commissioners, and if there's a commissioner that believes they have special real estate expertise, they might be nominated to be on that committee to voice some of those concerns.
Gotcha.
Might be.
And I don't know who that would be myself.
Frankly, I'm not laying a finger on it, but I'm sure there's somebody.
Commissioner Mason?
Thank you. I'm not a member of the Law Enforcement Committee, but as you guys know, I am very tied to law enforcement in this community. I work in that courthouse every day. I have so for, shouldn't say every day, most days, for 20 years. Absolutely, we need new space. I don't disagree with the spirit of the resolution. However, I do think it's important to note that if this task force goes into effect, the property on 31 will essentially probably no longer be an option, because we have to move on that by March, I think March or April. So, it's almost taken 2 different paths, but that's a discussion for the whole body in March. But as far as the resolution, I do think that there are some stakeholders left out that need to be on the committee, and that's really what I'm here to advocate for. I think a representative from the district attorney's office as well as the public defender's office needs to be on that committee, and I would ask that a member of the committee make a motion to do so to add that. And here's why. In my 20 years, I started here right after this courthouse was built, and I can tell you my first weekend sessions, we had already outgrown it. You've got police officers lining the hallway. You've got DAs on folding tables, not even this nice, in hallways working. So we're actually kind of one section of the workforce. You have all your clerks, you have security. So again, I'm talking about my section of the workforce. We're in corners, we're riding on people's backs. Public defender, same thing. We are meeting with victims or homicide families sometimes on trash cans and outside the hallway. Public defenders don't have anywhere to speak to their clients. And so I do think these are major stakeholders that should be on the committee, because in a previous county I was in, they built a courthouse. We weren't invited to the discussion. First day I show up, I'm like, all right, where's the DA room to negotiate? And they go, oh, we don't have one. What do you mean don't have one? Well, you can use the jury room. Well, what do I do when there's a jury? Don't know. So I just don't want to be in the same situation. So I would ask that those two entities be added as stakeholders.
Chair, I want to make a motion to add one person from the district attorney's office to this task force and one person from the PD's office. Was that?
Yes.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Oh,
Sean had a
oh,
comment.
Sean.
Yeah, just briefly. I mean, I agree that they need to have a seat at the table. The thought was trying to keep it more of a streamlined task force committee, but still allow stakeholders to come and speak. Because not only do we have PDs, DAs, we've got probation, we have the clerk and master's office, we have other, the local bar, civil attorneys. I mean, all of that, they are also in there on a daily basis and do work. So if you look at the Triple J report, I mean, it talks about needing attorney-client spaces for DAs. And so I was trying to keep it limited, but still invite people to the table to come present their issues. But obviously, if the commission feels strong about adding those specific subsets in, I've got, it's a commission's task force, so.
I got a question. I don't even know who to ask in this room. Can we put a member of does CTAS have some kind of
Expertise for this?
expertise representative that can be on this
Sure.
committee? Because I think they're kind of really more important than anybody.
As a non-voting member,
As a guidance, yeah, because again, I think they're more important than any single person on this committee.
yeah, I
They've
mean, I'm
been there
more
and
than
done
happy
that.
to talk to them. That's, okay.
I assume that's something that we could get an answer on prior to the next commission meeting to be able to amend it at that point. Okay.
If needed, I'm not sure you need to amend the resolution if they are going to be just there as a guide.
Okay.
But I'll certainly leave that up to you, but I will talk to them tomorrow, and let you guys know.
Just in thought, I mean, it makes me want to vote for this if we can get a member of CTAS on the team, because again, they've been there and done this, they've had the expertise, they've seen the movies before where these people, some of these stakeholders have their own private interest. I.e. the city of Franklin. So.
Some things just don't need to be said.
Don't care.
Question. I want to go back to Commissioner Mason real quick on your adding of those two.
Yes.
Are you, where do you sit with Sean's comment on those extras that he's talking about then?
He is correct that they are also valuable, and I think that my position would be that if they were here tonight asking to be stakeholders, I wouldn't dispute that.
That's fair.
I've not been approached or asked, or nobody from probation, clerk and master. I also think, perhaps a member of the Williamson County Bar. I mean, he's not wrong. And really, the list can get really exhaustive. But I've been approached by several people to request that the DA and the public defender, or one of their representatives, and I think there's language in that, be added to this, and I'm making that ask.
These are your comments to the motion?
Yes.
Okay.
On CTAS, help me understand who specifically, what's their role, what's their expertise? I mean, you mentioned CTAS, I'm like,
Yeah, it's part of the University of Tennessee. It's an organization that it concentrates on county government.
yeah, I know what it is.
Okay.
But you're saying CTAS, well, that's a big
They've
umbrella,
got- Right,
who?
they've got specific offices for law enforcement, fire safety, EMS, that sort of thing, that
Okay.
specialize in that law.
So somebody with expertise.
Correct, and actually there is a gentleman up at CTAS who's an attorney who does a lot of the law enforcement stuff, which
Oh,
was-
perfect.
I
Okay.
was thinking about asking.
That's, I'm just like, CTAS, thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, I have one comment too. Just as the SSDS task force has public hearings. I would assume this would have public hearings as well, so that these people that are stakeholders could certainly come and speak and hear and see what's going on. And I'm sure that we would record the minutes on these meetings so people could see what's going on and contact people on the committee or whatever. So I can't say it'd be totally left out. So that would cover just anybody that was really had a real interest in, having their voice heard on the decision that's made.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm struggling because I agree with you. And yet I also agree that this can get out of hand real quick. So I'm not quite sure how I wish to vote on this. But I know the DA's office, I know the work they do. I'm appreciative for what they do, same with the public defender. I sell internet. I don't know how the courtroom works. I apologize. I kind of want to support what Commissioner Mason brought up. It's going to go to the commission where it will have broader discussion. And I'll leave it at that with you two.
I think now more and more thinking about it, I think it needs to go to the commission to let them decide. So I would remove my motion to add the DA's office and PD's office.
I'm going to remove my second.
I'll let the commission decide. It's only fair, in my opinion.
Okay. Any more discussion from anyone in there? Hearing none?
Oh, you got one.
Oh.
Chair. Yeah, I have a couple of questions for Commissioner Aiello. Can you clarify the intended role of the City of Franklin representatives, given that the courthouse is a county-funded facility?
Sure. There was a lot of discussion about the availability of parking in downtown Franklin, and so that's why I've named an alderman in the city administration who might have a better, bigger picture of use and parking trends and those sorts of things. So I see it as a stakeholder because, one, the courthouse, my understanding, is required to be within the City of Franklin limits. So from that perspective, I don't know if I want to call it a vested interest, but you have to kind of have a conversation if you're building, I think, something in somebody's city. That's kind of the purpose of that.
Okay. One more question. Do you think 6 months is enough time?
Well, part of this also is constrained by election season. So I could see a scenario where there are commissioners appointed to the task force that are no longer on the commission past September. I think that there's definitely availability to extend it beyond that period. But the idea was to at least create at least an accelerated runway to have some discussion. And if the task force says we need to exist beyond September, I think it's a resolution that could extend it beyond its existing term. But
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
well, and I'm also hesitant about committing a next slate of commissioners beyond the term of those commissioners. And so perhaps, another slate of commissioners might not think this is a necessary event. So that was kind of also the purpose, is just kind of keep it localized to this commission's body and this commission's authority.
There was also language, and correct me if I'm wrong, in the resolution, something about that upon acceptance of the report, the task force would, what happens if there is no acceptance of the report ever?
So I think because it's not a motion, I think all the commission has to do is to receive it. They don't have to adopt it. They just accept that they've received it.
Okay.
That was the terminology for that purpose.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Mr. Chair.
One more question, sorry. Who did the 2020 criminal justice master plan?
Williamson was the company that was our consultants on that, who was also the architects for the JJJ.
Okay. I'm just thinking out loud. We put some money in there for Gresham Smith just because evaluate the economic impact of the current location, potential relocation. Tell me which one of these people are qualified to do that.
Well, I'll tell you, I anticipate the first conversation that the task force would have would be to determine, after this report is circulated, so if this commission is formed, the existing Triple J report concerning the courthouse master plan would be circulated as part of that invitation to the task force. That first discussion is, do we need to request funding to bring Gresham back into update, or the statistics which looked at about a 20-year accelerated timeline for courthouse needs to be updated. That was 2020, we're 6 years into that. I'm not quite sure how far the projections go, but perhaps they do need to be statistically updated to have a better picture of it. Likewise, if the task force or a commissioner feels strongly about needing additional design feasibility work on existing courthouse or an appraisal cost or anything like that, I think that's kind of why that forum would be there, to request through a separate resolution funding for whatever purpose.
Gotcha.
Rather than, yeah.
And I'm not trying to pick apart
No, please,
your
yeah.
motion, because it's all valid points. I was at the courthouse today, evaluate the parking needs for Williamson Courthouse. Debbie's got employees that gotta walk, 6 blocks in the rain, because there's no assigned parking in the garage over there. My truck won't fit in the garage, so, I gotta drive around for 30 minutes trying to find a parking spot. I can evaluate that really quick. We need more parking.
Sure.
Or a smaller truck.
Yeah,
Just throwing that out there.
On a skateboard.
that's fine. So, okay.
All right, are we ready to vote on this here resolution? I believe we are. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Hearing none, pass unanimously. I think we're adjourned.